In our journey towards fostering a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world, the importance of mental health often flies under the radar, which is sad. Now, throughout my personal journey, from the lows of family tragedies to deaths to the highs of writing my book, 12 Hours of Heaven, and founding I Spark Change, I've experienced firsthand how mental health directly affects one's capacity to foster impact. Those challenging times did teach me that the value of self-care and mental health awareness is immense. Not just for overcoming personal adversity, but for fueling our shared mission of positive change.
What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
In case you missed it,
When you're able to relate what they've gone through to your situation and put it into action, you decided that that's how you wanted to change your life and to impact others. What's been the feedback that you've received since then?
What a beautiful question. I got invited and got to speak to all the kids in the community. And one girl came right up to me, and I'm standing next to the principal. He goes, "Dylan, I have dyslexia. I can't express to you how much it helps me that you came and you shared your story. Thank you so much for coming." And this 9th grade girl looked at the principal and goes, "Thank you for having him come, because it changed more of our perspective in our lives than you would even know." And me and him kind of looked at each other. He touched his heart and he turned away. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and then me, him, and the girl.
available everywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes, to the latest edition of I Spark Change Through. Our goal with these episodes is featuring all the different ways that us and others spark change to make the world a better place through social impact and positive change. And we found over the past few years that there are endless ways to positively impact each other's day. The response to this segment has been extremely positive. We've had episodes on sparking change through fitness, adventure, mind, body, spirit, volunteering, mental health awareness, writing, interns, culture exchange, networking, time, self-care, gratitude, love, purpose, listening, and most recently, collaboration. That's a lot of ways to spark change. So on that note, I have a question for you. How do you spark change? One of the ways we spark change here at iSpark Change is through being aware of our own mental health. Now, some of you may be thinking, didn't you do a show on mental health awareness before? The answer is yes. We did one last year in June of 2023 as it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We think it's super important, so I'm back with some new ways to practice mental health awareness for yourself and others here in 2024. In our journey towards fostering a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world, the importance of mental health often flies under the radar, which is sad, frankly. We get so focused on the day-to-day grind that we often minimize the importance or fail to realize the signs of issues. Awareness of what's going on in our daily lives is the cornerstone in our efforts to spark change. So today I want to share with you why mental health awareness is not just a cause I believe in, it's a critical part of our mission at ISC. So why should it matter to you? It's foundational, okay? It affects how we think, feel, act, influence our decision-making, our stress management, and how we relate to others in our personal and professional lives. For those of us driven to change the world, maintain our mental health well-being isn't just personal, it's a public matter. It empowers us to sustain our efforts and face challenges with resilience. And trust me, sometimes it's been daunting to think like, hey, I want to change the world. But the reality is that we all do that on a daily basis. So we all need to be aware of our mental health. Now, throughout my personal journey, from the lows of family tragedies to deaths to the highs of writing my book, 12 Hours of Heaven, and founding I Spark Change, I've experienced firsthand how mental health directly affects one's capacity to foster impact. Those challenging times did teach me that the value of self-care and mental health awareness is immense, not just for overcoming personal adversity, but for fueling our shared mission of positive change. If you can't maintain that positive outlook, then how are you supposed to convey that to someone else? So here's some simple tips that are effective ways that we as a community dedicated to change can maintain our mental health and practice health awareness. One is regular check ins. Just as we regularly check our emails or social media updates incessantly, by the way, it's crucial to check in on our mental health. Just ask yourself, like, hey, how am I feeling today? Acknowledging your emotions without judgment and if seek help if you find your feelings overwhelming. I personally journal in the morning and at night. This helps me to see where my head is at, so to speak, and it gives me that peace, that calm, for any anxiety that I've had during the day. Two would be create a support system. Change making can be a lonely journey, right? You build a network of friends, family, colleagues who understand and support your goals. And this network is not just for sharing successes, but also for providing support during tough times. This has been ultra important to me. I know for many years, I was the person that would not ask for help. I still struggle with it. I still struggle with asking for help. And it wasn't until I really started to, know that I'm not alone in this journey, that others are there going through similar challenges, and that, they oftentimes they do want to help. And so, I'm very fortunate to have a loving family, wonderful friends, a fantastic iSpark Change team to provide support for me, and we provide it for each other. And I would encourage you to do the same. Number three would be to set realistic goals. So, as change makers out there, as I know all of you are, we're often driven to achieve big, right? We have these big goals and dreams. While this is what pushes society forward, right? Not just you, but society, it's also essential to set achievable goals to prevent burnout. You got to celebrate those small victories because they will add up to significant achievements. And as I've said before on the show, this was a tough one for me to grasp initially. When I was younger, I would want to accomplish everything at once. Like I've shared the story of how I went through college, just like bam, I just wanted to get in and out because I was like, oh, no, I need to be done. I need to move on. And that lack of presence, really took its toll. And, it took many failures to understand that you have to eat an elephant one bite at a time, as the old cliche goes. And it's only through consistency that we're going to reach those bigger goals. Number four would be to stay physically active. Physical health significantly impacts mental health. It's a proven fact, right? And a simple daily routine, whether you take a walk in the park, take your dog for a walk, you do yoga, any of those, you get out for a bike ride, any of those can greatly enhance your mental clarity and emotional resilience. And if you followed us for any length of time on social media, you've seen how important this is to me. I work out 5 to 6 days per week, oftentimes with my wife Tanya, and practice various forms of biohacking at our business, Revive Biohacking. And this helps, myself and her to live better, longer, so we can have the most impact possible. And I it's one of the fastest ways that I've encountered to change my mental health um, stats, just like that. I mean, I could be, wake up tired, wake up groggy, just, kind of out of it. And I get in there, I get into the gym, start working out, and I'm a new person instantly. So that's something that really works for me. I'm a big fan of that. Number five would be mindfulness and reflection. So I learned this many years ago that if you incorporate mindfulness practice into your daily routine, that whether it's meditation, journaling, or simply spending a few moments in silence, as I used to do years ago, that's going to help you stay centered and connected to your purpose. And purpose is what's going to drive your daily activities. Because practices like this have been game changers for me. I not only journal twice per day, as I mentioned earlier, I also meditate first thing in the morning and then again in the late afternoon. And I've talked about that in a previous show, and we'll put the link here for those of you that want to listen to that. So this helps me stay focused because without it, my mind would not slow down from that million miles an hour that is always going on from the different things that I'm a part of. And so any type of stillness, any type of mindfulness reflection is really going to help. It brings to mind a story from a few years back where I had a client that was a young chiropractor, and he was an associate in an office that was growing. He was very busy. He had two young children under the age of 3. Okay. So if you can, some of you maybe can relate. I can remember when we had young kids, but 2 under the age of 3. And he said he felt like his life was on a treadmill, that he would wake up at like 6 or 7. He'd help get the kids ready. His wife worked as well. So he'd leave the house, get to the office, work all the way down till 6 p.m., get in his car, go straight home, give the kids, get them fed, give them a bath, go to bed, and do it all over. And he felt like he never had any time for himself. And so what I said is, I said, look, if you can just practice 5 minutes of stillness, okay? Preferably 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. And what I told him is, I said, look, you said you're running in and out of here of the office and going into your car and going back home. So how about if you do this? How about if before you come in the office, you sit in the car for 5 minutes, you spend some time in stillness. You don't think about the 800 things you have for the day, but you spend some time in stillness. And then you go into the office and you transition from that home time to the office time. And then when you're done at work, then either before you leave the office or in your driveway when you get home, I want you to sit there for 5 more minutes. Don't put the radio on. Don't think about anything. Don't scroll on your phone. Just sit there in stillness for 5 minutes. A couple of minutes later, I go back and I say, hey, did you start doing the stillness? How's it going? And, what was the impact? He said, yes, I started doing it. I'm like, okay. Well, tell me, what was the impact? And he said 2 words: life changing. It literally changed his life. He started enjoying the time with his kids more. He didn't feel like he was on a treadmill. He was much more present with his wife and his son and daughter. And he was getting that time for himself that we all miss, because so much of us, and I was the same person, I used to do this, is we wake up and we automatically give away our day. As Jim Quick says, we give away our sovereignty and our power to everyone else. We grab our phone, we dive into social media. I used to go dive into my email for work. And then all of a sudden we're on everyone else's schedule, on everyone else's agenda. We don't take any time for ourselves. So that's why first thing in the day, I'm meditating. I'm in my scripture, I'm doing my gratitude, my journaling, everything like that. And then I'm meditating for 20, 22 minutes every day. And then towards the end of the latter part of the day, because that really plays a huge, huge impact. And that's been a game changer for me. So little long on number 5, it's because it is for good reason. That has been the most significant impact of any of these for myself. And then number 6, I would say last one, number 6, is to educate yourself and others, because understanding mental health not only aids in your self-care, but it also equips you to assist others. So if you find that article, share resources, have a workshop if you have, your community of your own, and just have open conversations about mental health in your networks online. Share people's support if they're having hard times, and they share that, post something on social media. We do what we can through our newsletter and our podcast, and there's a ton of information out there. So make sure that what you do find is a credible source, and just continue learning. So as we continue to build this platform of passionate and driven individuals like you, let's remember that taking care of our mental health is not a luxury, it is essential. It enables us to continue our mission and supports others in their journeys. So let's lead by example, folks. Come on, Impact Heroes. You got to lead by example. And let's show that mental health awareness is indeed a form of sparking change, because together as a community, we can break stigmas, support one another, and foster a healthier environment that propels us towards our shared vision of a better world. I want to thank you for joining me on today's episode. I hope that what I shared resonated with you in some way and sparks something inside of you to spark change, because remember, you have the ability to spark change every day and positively change the world. So I'd love to hear how you are aware of your mental health and the mental health of others. So please share it with me on social media. I promise I will read each and every one of your messages and respond personally. Thanks for listening today, and we'll see you all next time on the iSpark Change podcast.
Do you want Rick to speak at your event? Here's what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
Performance made me feel some type of way. My name is Craig Siegel.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickcornelis.com to book him today.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments, and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.